Hello, hello. I thought I'd just do a little another update on the Thulium welder. Um, a lot of people ask about it, so I figure I follow up anytime I have a project that I use it with. The last project I did was with my trailer. I was welding my trailer, welding the expanded metal back onto the frame of the trailer. Um, I have a lot of footage of that. It hasn't been edited yet or uploaded, but I'll get to it at some point. Been quite busy. But again, I figure I just document anytime I'm using this welder and say a little bit about its performance and how it measures up on certain jobs. So with regard to the trailer, it did pretty well once I MIG'd it. I'm using flux core basically all throughout most of what I'm doing with this welder. I do have the TIG gun for it, but I don't have gas yet, so I haven't messed around with that. So I think in a previous video I commented on maybe trying to see how well it would stick weld on the trailer, because there were some pretty thick gaps between the expanded metal and the trailer itself. And of course I had to hammer it in at some points. But it seemed like it might have been a good opportunity to use a stick welder. But the only thing about that was that the rod would actually stick to the trailer because of all the paint residue that was on there. So of course I grind it off as much as I could, but there are numerous points at which I couldn't, get all the paint off, and anywhere where that paint was, it just couldn't make a good enough contact with the welder or with the metal for the welder or for the stick to actually melt. So it ended up just getting stuck more than it actually did any kind of welding. So again, I think that was a special situation in which there was a lot of paint on the object that I was trying to weld. Even though I did grind off some of it, I can't say that that's necessarily how the stick welder would perform. Otherwise, I'd have to really just try it on a clean piece of metal and see how it does there, which might be another thing. Maybe I'll just do some kind of corner joint or something with it and just see how it works anyway. But with the flux core MIG worked well. Now, welding expanded metal, you do have to watch out with temperatures. So a lot of it was trying to find the right amount of current, not to melt the metal. Okay, so welders will melt your expanded metal because the metal is fairly thin is not as dense compared to most materials that would often weld on. So that stuff will melt. So that was really the trick of it, is just trying to find the right amperage. I think I was doing it between like 143 and 145 was like the sweet spot. Or yeah, about there. Yeah, 143, 145, right? So this goes up to 200 amps. I couldn't use anywhere near 200 amps. But I guess pretty close. Like I said, 145, 144, 143, 145. It was that would keep it from burning. I think the lower you go, the lower from there, it would just it would take too much time, and the more time you let it sit on there, the hotter it would get anyway, and then that's what would cause it to melt. But it came out pretty good. Again, I'll when I get to editing that video, I'll show it. And I actually had my little brother help me from the Big Brothers Big Sisters program, and so I was his first time welding, and he enjoyed it, and he did really well. So I'll show you some of his welds. They were pretty good. So other than that, what's going on here is again, these projects are pretty much completely unrelated to music or electronics, but again, I just figure I'll show it anyway anytime I'm breaking out this welder. So here I have this chicken here that I have to weld some rings on the bottom of it so it can stay on the ground. So I'm going to have this chicken out in front of my property, and I need to stake it to the ground. It doesn't have any points of contact with which to stake it, so I have some round stock here that I got, just Ace Hardware, and I bent them last night. I made 4 rings, so I just bent them into like U-shaped rings that I can pretty much just tack weld. I'm going to go all the way around the weld it's a rebar on the bottom of this here chicken, and I'm going to weld these rings onto the rebar at the bottom, and that's it. Because obviously I want to put this chicken out there, but I don't want it to fly away. So the only way to remedy this is to stake it to the ground. So I'm gonna get going on this, and we'll see how it's performed. But again, this is exactly kind of why I got the welder for projects like this, and this is I think just where its sweet spot is with projects like this that are really, this is really like a light duty job, and I think it can do more anyway. I mean, you've seen me with the doing the corner joints and things like that, and trying to lay beads. Laying my first beads, it can do all that. I'm sure it'll probably perform pretty good with the TIG and with an actual MIG setup. One day I'll get some gas and we'll be able to explore all that. But right now I'm just doing flux core, just simple jobs that I need to get done. I'd like to use it more. I just don't have that many projects in which I need to mend metal together. But hopefully over time I'll have more and more things and come up with more things to build. That are useful around my property, and then I'll get to more welding. But other than that, again, let's get this thing staked down so this chicken don't fly away from us.